everybody. Welcome to the Michael Ryley Podcast. Here I am John Howard, a media producer, and today I have with me Colin Panzi with
Ankeny Real Estate Group.
Ankeny Real Estate Group. Colin, welcome. Thank you for coming and sitting down with me today. Just for reference on if we're, asking any questions on rates, the market, whatever, we're sitting here in January 2026. Fairly recently after the new year, and it's been kind of certainly a different feeling in the last 12 months than it has been, probably the previous 5-6 years, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there's the COVID years.
Yep.
Where everything was on fire and moved fast and don't have time to think, so that chaos.
It was very chaotic.
And then it went off a cliff. The rates going from 2.5%, 3% to 7.5%. And so that adjustment was like a shock factor, slowed down. I think people are getting more acquainted to the upper 5s, the 6s, the 7s over, because the rates really changed in February, March of 2023. Mm-hmm. So as a realtor, everyone was freaking out. Mm-hmm. Buyers were freaking out. Sellers were freaking out. Everybody was just, what's going to happen? Those nerves have calmed, and we're going back to real estate for people buying and selling for the right reasons. I had always said during the COVID years, I think people woke up next to their significant other and were like, let's just sell our house and buy something new. Money made sense. So, there was no rhyme or reason for it. So we're going back to people buying and selling for job relocation, need more size, need to downsize, maybe had a parent pass away, take home through divorce, restructuring their debt. So more of those core reasons why people often buy and sell houses, decide that they want to do something different. At 25, I think we're getting more into we don't have to do this, but we like to do this, and we can do this, so let's go ahead and do this. And that was what drove 2020, 21, and 22 was, let's just do it. It just...
You mean I can keep my payment same and go up $200,000 in house, or, whatever it was.
Yeah, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I know during that time I had just stepped into the industry creating real estate media, and there were sometimes if I had 3-4 vacant houses on my list to do that day, I could sit those in between the other scheduled ones, and I'd hit 7-8 a day. It was just absolutely crazy.
Well, we were doing media and whatnot, taking photos and getting ready to list it. You have 3 phone calls before you even hit the MLS.
Yeah.
So, a lot of what you were doing wasn't really getting the opportunity to be showcased because it was on the market on a Tuesday and pending by Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm. The big thing for me during that time was I was brand new in the business, and just to get my name out there so that people were seeing my name and seeing my product, I was offering my first shoot for free. I'd run out and I'd do that first shoot, and I've always delivered my photos the same day. Now, video and stuff like that, depending on the complexity of it, it may take a little bit longer, but photos have always been same day, so agents love that. Mm-hmm. And even during that time, I'd sit in my car, if I had time, I'd plug that thing into my computer, and I'd sit there and edit it and get it out within an hour of those shoots, which was really nice. But going back to, just general listing and today's market, what are some of the biggest hurdles that sellers and buyers are trying to overcome, as we're in a different market than most home buyers have seen in their lifetime?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a different market for most realtors.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'm going to show you a house again, can't go back to the COVID years. I'm going to show you a house, you can go sit in your car and think about it for 15, 20 minutes, but you got to make a decision. Mm-hmm. And now you have buyers who will look at a house and we'll get back to you and we'll talk about it. a week later, say, well, what about that one house that we looked at last week? Is it still available? Yeah, it's still available. Okay, well, we'll get back to you. You know, so there's definitely not that urgency and world's on fire, you gotta hurry up and go. And so you gotta have a plan, both as a buyer and a seller. I think the biggest thing with listings is just setting expectations, because when you're in that listing seat, you only want to think that it's going to happen the way that it used to happen, where we're going to put a sign in your yard beginning of the week and it's going to be pending 2-3 days later, to where, you know, with your pricing, we can price this a couple different ways. We can price it to that it's not going to sell in a couple of days, but maybe a week or two, or we can price it to the where, you know, it might take 30 or 45 days. And it, you know, I've never been a realtor that goes in and says, like, this is your list price. You have to list at this price. Mm-hmm. Because it's an ongoing relationship with the sellers. It's, do we want to push the price a little bit and expect more showings, and that you got to keep your house clean a little bit longer, and that it might just take time, but you might get an extra $5,000 or $10,000 off. Or are you in a situation where you're taking a new job somewhere outside of the metro and you've got to be there in 30 days. And so at that point, we probably shouldn't push the price as much. Let's price it to where it's attractive, and we hopefully will sell it in the first week or two.
Yeah, you need this thing to roll.
Yeah. Everyone's situation is different also, to where, do you have time? Can we be patient? Or do you got to move this thing because you're moving, or given the circumstance?
Yeah, that's it's one of those things that I when I'm on site, I'm always asking questions, right? Whether it be to the realtor, the homeowner, just one, to be friendly and stuff like that, but always trying to figure out people's psychology behind what they're doing, because that can then work into my business and help influence some of the decisions that I make for products that you guys might be interested in.
Yeah.
Right.
I think going back to like the buyer strategy around it all, I think like you're running into a little bit now. It's like over-analysis paralysis type of deal, where like the home, we don't love the home. Mm-hmm. You know, what if we get a better price on another home? Or, you know, they just having that confidence of like, hey, this is a quality house, checks not all your boxes, but most of your boxes. It's in your price range. I don't know what order you could be looking for, or if there's something else out there that would check literally every one of your boxes and still hit your price range in mind. So buyers at the same time need to have the confidence that right now you're not going to steal properties. You're not going to find a property that's listed well. You can pull a house to see if it's within the market. You're not going to go and get 15, 18, 20% off the house because it sat there for 45 days. That's not normal from what it was 3 days.
Sure. Yeah, I think even, and correct me if I'm wrong, but sellers are, unless they absolutely have to, let that house go and they have to get rid of that asset. Obviously $20,000 on $1 million house is going to be completely different than $20,000 on a $300,000 house, right? Sellers, are they still in the mentality that they shouldn't have to move their price, or?
Every situation is different. I have a past client that just built a custom home, and they were moving out of the house that they've been in for 13, 14 years. And it really, this last fall, we have a team of 16 realtors. In 25, we sold 365 houses. So I feel like within them, I can get a pretty good grasp of how the market's going, because we just have people out there. And so, and I would say in 25, October, mid-October, November, early December, it really did slow down. Like the showings were stagnant. we'd get one showing 1 week, and then we'd go 2 weeks before we'd get another one. And we'd get feedback that, hey, they like the house, it's one they're considering, but we'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd never hear back. And even if you follow up, they're like, well, they're just not making decisions. And so I would say like mid-December, maybe even a week right before Christmas, it did pick up. And we kept thinking, like, all right, come January, after the first of the year, get through the holidays, like then we'll see it pick up, and it picked up earlier. So that was positive. But kind of going back to the seller situation, this particular client builds a custom home, has their house, and he's like, I don't want to do price reductions because my payment on this thing is like $1,200 a month. I'll hold it till April for $5,000 or $6,000 before I start doing $15,000 price drops.
Sure.
And so, it also, when he moved, and this other house is sitting there then vacant, and the snow's coming down in December, he's like, all right, like, it's time for it to go.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's an ongoing conversation between the realtor and the client. How are they feeling? What are they thinking? Because, on a Monday they might think one thing, and on Friday they're like, look, something's got to change. We got to do something different. And so it's just that ongoing communication. And I think that's one thing with realtors also is that I've noticed probably more so in the last year or two is you got to pick up your phone and have conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
With your realtors, with your fellow realtors, with your clients, with the other people in your office, because just texting and being like, should we do a price drop? Like, you're not getting a sense of how they're really feeling and thinking about their house, where it's at, the activity that they're having, what's going on with them personally to make a real decision.
I love being able to text somebody, but if I need to be able to hear tone or somebody needs to be able to hear the tone in my voice, it's a phone call, right? I mean, especially on, should we do a price drop? Well, how the client responds could be taken, different ways just based on the tone that's in their brain, right?
Well, then through text message, is it a $5,000 price drop or is it a $20,000 price drop? Okay, we're going to do a price drop. Well, what do you think? I don't know, $5,000. And you can't hear that sense of urgency in their voice of like, look, if we really want to get activity and we really want to get this thing sold in the next 14, 28 days, then we need to probably do 10 to 15 to 20.
Yeah.
And again, it's all, $20,000 price drop on a $250,000 home is huge.
Yeah.
But the same thing with those bigger houses. Maybe it's a $50,000 price drop, which we've seen. I mean, the number of price drops and price adjustments that you've seen in 25 was every day there's more price drops than there were pendings. And, but I think that's also coming out of the gate. You have to have a strategy behind what price you're listing it at and what's your expectations of being on the market. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been in the business how long?
May 25th this year will be 20 years.
Okay, so you've seen some things.
Yeah, you do.
Full-time the whole time, or did you start out part-time?
No, full-time. Well, I did a college internship. I was at Iowa State. I did an internship with CBRE Hubble Commercial. So I actually got into commercial real estate. Did that for 9 months and then joined them for 2 to 3 years. Moved to Fargo, North Dakota. Yeah. Worked for a custom home builder up there for 3 years and then moved back in 2012. Got married, had kids, started myself as an individual agent, got busy, started my own Colin Panzi real estate team. That was really good, learned a lot. I mean, I think I started a team before most teams were starting teams. And it was just because I remember I don't remember what year, but I showed up to my own birthday dinner with our families, like 30 minutes late. At that time, I was getting up at 5 in the morning, emails, phone calls, and that day, I remember I looked back that night, I made like 118 phone calls in and out, and I was running from closings to inspections to all over the place. And my wife was like, I know you love this, and I know that you've tend to be successful at this, but like you're not going to do this forever, like the way you are. So I started my own Colin Panzi real estate team. Learned a lot, had a lot of success, but being the team leader, the number one salesperson, the marketing person, the bill payer, the problem solver, everything in between and above and below, it just wore on me. And so in 2020, when the market really started to shift, I was like, I just can't. I'm going to burn myself out already. And so I partnered with a guy that's my age, my dad got me into the real estate business. His dad got him into the business. They were at a small boutique real estate shop, and I said, look, like, we can do this together. And the whole idea was that we're very similar, but we have different personalities. I'm definitely just turning loose on selling and talking to clients and putting deals together. And he was a part of the Ankeny Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, the Uptown Association Board of Directors. He's from Ankeny. I'm not. He can run for mayor here next term and probably have a good shot at getting it.
Sure.
And so there's just different skill sets, but also one of his underlying skill sets is like managing. And that's where I struggled with my own team, was just being there, being around, because I'm running from deal to deal and problem to problem, and he just has a different skill set. So the two of us came together in 21, started Ankeny Real Estate Group. This is their 5th year being in business, and it's took off and it's going well, and we all kind of have our lanes. We're all good at what we do. Always looking to plug in new pieces to grow and develop and change and track and measure everything, where we're at, what's working, what's not. If it's not working, get rid of it. Right? If it is working, let's do more of it. And then we just surround ourselves by good people. Our goal is not to just keep adding people, adding right people. And so that culture is very important. We have truly like a family that's proud to be a part of it. Great group of people, great realtors. Have a lot of fun. Do well at it.
Being able to get along with the people that you're seeing every day is huge. Talk a little bit about your real estate business and your group. Now, it is an individual brokerage, right? You are not underneath some other, like a Remax or a Century 21. You're not a team underneath one of those. You're your own brokerage. Am I correct?
No, we are our own brokerage.
Okay.
So, we were with Remax Precision. I was Remax through and through. If you saw the balloon, you knew what it was. It's a house for sale. Like, there's value to that. In 24, beginning of 24, we left Remax Precision to go to LPT Realty.
Yep. Which
is like the fastest growing cloud-based brokerage in all of the U.S. It's very agent focused. It's different. When you think of cloud-based brokerages, you think of EXP and Real. They're definitely the front runners. But LPT is just doing things a little differently and different models for different realtors. Both of those cloud-based brokerages very much not a pyramid scheme, but like recruiting, where LPT figured out where 95% of realtors, they don't want to recruit anybody. They don't want to go and ask other realtors, hey, come join our brokerage so they can build their downline. And LPT figured out a structure where if you're just a realtor and you're here, your fees are a little bit less, and if you're a team leader and you're recruiting, your fees are a little bit more, but there's some extra incentives. And so it's been a great fit for us. And I've said this, and I've heard this in podcasts and other areas. It's, people work with people. People work with local brands. Whether we're with Century 21 or Remax or Iowa Realty, they're still calling Ankeny Real Estate Group.
Yep.
They're still calling Colin Panzi, who's in the gym with his kids at basketball tournaments, and so LPT and most cloud-based brokerages, and I think most brokerages in general, are realizing that it's not them, it's the realtors, and the realtors that are having lots of success realize it's not your broker's brand that you're pushing. It should be your own brand.
It's your own brand, yeah.
And so we're Ankeny Real Estate Group.
Excellent. Talk about your team and how many realtors, you have. Are you looking to grow? If you are looking to grow, who is it that you're looking for?
We have 16 realtors, Michael and I being 2 of them, so 14 team agents. We're looking to grow slowly. We want to make sure that our other realtors that are with us are staying busy and being taken care of. Feel like they have that support. We have a great back-end system that photos, marketing, just all of that is handled for them. And so, we're always looking for another piece to add to the puzzle. We don't actively call people. I've seen and heard that over the last couple of years as other team leaders send other agents see me had a bad year. Like, if you ever thought about joining a team, we're not like that. A couple of years ago, we had a realtor that joined our team that she'd been in the business 5 or 6 years, was a part of another team, successful, really successful. And she's like, I just don't see why joining your team would help. And it was because we can turn you loose just to sell, and we'll do all the back end. And last year she sold damn near 60 houses. Nice. Had her best year ever. And she's a great team player, and she's great to have around and fun, and she just crushes it. She's like, I should have made this jump years ago. And so it's one of those things too. It's like, we're not going to oversell you or promise you the moon. We're going to show you what we can do for you. And if it's a good fit, it's a good fit. And if not, then, hey, we're still here to support you and help you if we can and go from there. But as for realtors, like I said, how big our team will get, 18 to 20 is what we've always said will be kind of our max, which also, I think for our team, lets them realize that, let's fast forward a year or two, and we do have 18 or 20. We're not just going to add 4 more and get to 24. We're going to look at our group and be like, okay, who's maybe not performing to where the level that we need or that we're hoping, and is it a good fit? And so, just iron sharpens iron and keep it rolling. Yeah,
talking with another realtor who has fairly recently started a team. It was looking for somebody fairly specific. Hey, if you're not going to do this, go join a team, but you're not going to be the right fit. So knowing who that is and, going back and kind of thinking through those things, I would imagine it's difficult to make a cut, but sometimes those cuts need to be made.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think too, when you're recruiting, you've got to buy into our culture. Our culture is that we show, you're an independent contractor, so we can't tell you that you have to do open houses. But if you don't want to do open houses, when the other 14, 15, 16 people are doing open houses, is this the right fit?
Yeah, something's not lining up.
If you never want to come into, because again, you don't have to come into the office, but if you don't want to come into the office when everyone else is in the office talking about real estate deals, problems they're having, figuring out whatever, is this a good fit for you? And, and I think that again is, realtors, I've said this for years too, realtors, we're all independent contractors, but we're not meant to do this on our own.
Right, yeah.
It's great to have a group of people that, when you got a problem, all right, let's talk it out. There's 3, 4, 5 people in the office at that time. Let's what would be the best decision? And when you're having super successful months, to celebrate those wins with you. And, you're not meant to be on an island, just waking it up and figuring it out on your own every day and riding the highs and lows and questioning yourself or doubting yourself. And, so that culture is a big piece. synergy.
For sure. In your 20 years, right? 20 years. What's maybe a situation that surprised you? Whether it be between you and your client, whether it would be, walking into a showing and you saw something crazy, or, something unexpected that you're like, huh, I wasn't expecting that today.
Yeah. I've seen a lot. I don't have a lot of the outlandish, crazy stories. We have someone on our team that's just notorious for craziness. Like, the stuff that she's ran into and seen is just bizarre. And so, I don't know, the market itself is just tracking it. I feel like I'm very even keel. So even the crazy stuff doesn't seem that crazy. And, when emotions get heightened, we start arguing about washer and dryer or whatever, like, we're just going to figure out solutions and keep moving. And so, I unfortunately, don't have any, like, wild stories.
Yeah.
Not that I can think of anyway.
Okay. All right. What is something that we'll go, let's say, new home buyer, somebody that's stepping into the market, brand new? What is a question that is probably getting answered, in a consultation or something like that? But are there any common questions that they have that maybe the industry or where they're going for their information isn't answering for them?
Yeah, I think the whole process of if I'm just getting into the market, what do I do first? There's all sorts of resources, and if you go to Google or ChatGPT, I'm a new home buyer, where do I go? Like, it will spew information at you. I think the one thing that again, it's experience helps. So if you're a new home buyer and you're talking to realtors, I think a lot of business is done by referral.
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin used this guy 5 years ago, and he'd be a good resource for you. Asking them how many homes did you sell this year? How active are you in the business? Like, do you sell in this market or that market? Do you help a lot of our first-time home buyers? Those type of questions, because I think there's so many people that have real estate licenses,
mm-hmm.
and it's like driver's licenses. They're not all created equal.
Right.
It's 70% to pass your driver's test, and it's 70% to pass your real estate exam.
Yeah.
And same way with drivers. There's good drivers and bad drivers.
Absolutely.
And same with real estate. I do think with the market that we've had in 23, 24, there was a lot of part-time realtors.
Mm-hmm.
Got my license, and people just call, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to go help them buy a $500,000 home, which is your the largest asset that most people purchase. So having that trusted resource, someone that's been there, that's done it, that figures it out, provides you answers and solutions. And so
it's so interesting you say that. I ran into a situation with somebody that I knew that they were going through a divorce, right? And was talking with one of the spouses, and they said they knew what I did, right? And I'm like, hey, let me give you a couple names, call them, interview them, that sort of thing. Well, so-and-so recommended this other realtor to me. I'm like, okay, I know who it is, and I know the name, I know the family, I know, who they are. And then I went up and I was looking up stats, and I know the stats of my realtors, right? I know what they're selling, I know what they're helping people buy, those sort of things. And I was looking it up, and I'm like, this person sold 5 houses or helped with 5 transactions over like the last 2 years, and on the buyer side. And so I went to this person. I'm like, hey, just FYI, this is the research that I did. This is what I've seen. You may want to reconsider. And they didn't end up. One of the 2 owners bought the other one out, but so they didn't end up, needing a realtor or anything like that. But it was interesting to see that, and then do the research on my end, to help my friend out.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just interesting because people don't necessarily ask those questions. When it comes to agents getting listings, how often today are the clients actually doing multiple interviews?
I bet it's lower than you think that they're interviewing multiple agents to help them buy or sell. I wish it was higher.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you can get connected with realtors buying houses through Zillow, Realtor.com. You have no relationship with them. They're going to meet you at a house or sit down with you quick and then go show you a house. You don't know them or how much they've done or where they're at or who they are as a person. And so then they take you down this path, and you don't know if they truly have your interests at heart, first and foremost. And so, same way with listing agents. I go to quite a few listing appointments, interview other people. Look, if you feel like someone else is a better fit or they'd be able to offer you better service, I'm not going to take any offense to it. I might ask, what was the deciding factor that had you go with an XYZ realtor over me? For my own benefit or selfishly, I want to improve and lose less listings.
Yep.
But yeah, I love when buyers are like, hey, we're first-time home buyers, we're interviewing a couple different people. We'd love to sit down with you and ask, what are the pros and cons of working? And that's something that you can't research online. You can't go to Google and say, here are 3 realtors, who's going to help you best? Mm-hmm. Because it is a personality fit. It's what do they do differently? So same way with listings.
So when it comes to meeting a realtor even a realtor that you do know, what are some things that, whether it be buyers or sellers, should be asking those realtors to get a good feel of, is this person going to help me the way I need them to help me?
Yeah. If I was a buyer, it's almost like you got to play out scenarios. We don't know what we like, what we're going to decide to purchase. What if we were to look at 25 houses? Are you okay with that? Are you okay if it takes us 6 months to buy a home? Again, as a buyer, what if we purchase our home and a week after being there, the water heater goes out? Can you have someone? Can you help me if there's something wrong with my house? And that's, again, just the perks of working with a full-time realtor is that I tell my clients, buyer, seller, it doesn't matter. If you need a plumber, call me. Electrician, you need someone to repair a window, concrete, paint, it doesn't matter. Like, I've been in this industry long enough. I've made great relationships with a lot of great contractors, and contractors that have proven themselves to me that they do a great job. They show up when they're supposed to. Prices are not the cheapest, but they're also not going to gouge you and charge you 3 times as much for that water heater than what it truly should cost. And again, we just want to be that trusted resource that we live in the world of houses. People live in houses, but they don't need their water heater replaced every day. And so you can go to Google, and the companies that are spending the most amount of money on ads are probably going to charge you the most amount of money for that water heater. And, there's a lot of people that just pick up the phone and call the first one they see. It's the same thing with buying and selling houses.
Yep.
I need a realtor. I'm calling this guy. And off you go. And you're like, that wasn't a good decision. He's not a good fit. I don't like him, but I'm stuck.
Yep.
It's the same way, like, if you were replacing your roof, call and get 3 quotes.
Mm-hmm.
It's to your best interest, because you could get a roof quote for $10,000, $12,000, $6,000, or $18,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so finding that right, hey, you're not the cheapest, but you seem very professional. You seem like you've done a lot of roofs. You gave me referrals and recommendations from people that you've worked with in the past. You're my guy. And I think that's the one thing about, like, the real estate. It's not like a pair of jeans where, like, if you don't like it, you return it the next day.
Yeah.
It's a major purchase. People, it's not about how much the house is. We're just going to break down the monthly payment. It's $2,200 a month, and that's just a little bit more than you're paying rent. No, you're still borrowing $250,000. Like, you're spending $250,000 on something. You should be confident and comfortable with the whole process. The other question I would have buyers and sellers ask is, what's your best way to communicate? And, if I have a question and I call you or text you on Monday at noon, like, when would you expect to get back to me? Because I think that's the other thing. We earn a lot of business by just answering our phones.
Yep.
It's amazing the number of clients that we picked up. We're building a custom home right now for someone that's like $1.2 million. We're going to sell their house. It should be $500,000.
Yep.
And they said, we reached out to the last realtor, and we reached out to him and said that we're just looking for a lot, and that it just felt like we were getting the time of day, and he wasn't interested in helping us. And so we met you guys. And it's like, whether you're buying a lot for $80,000 or you're building $1 million home or whatever, like, answer the phone, call people back. We go through this process all the time. They don't. And so they're going to have questions. They're going to want reassurances that what they're doing is the right decision. And if you're a real estate expert, you should be able to provide that.
Yep, absolutely. And I haven't ever looked at doing this, but, even just a real quick response, hey, saw you called, I'm with another client, call you back,
Call you back in an hour.
Yeah, no, that, just getting that touch point, like, hey, I'm not being ignored, makes a big difference.
Yeah. And I think if a client asks me, hey, can you check on this? I'm going to check on it and get back to them right away. I feel like there's a lot of, they call them like outstanding bogeys out there of just like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. That, you might have 10 things to do, but that's the one thing that one client asks you to do. And if you don't do it, then they're like, oh, I feel like I'm just being ignored.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I'm bothering them.
Yeah.
And even if it's like, hey, I don't have an answer yet, but I'm still working on it, and I'm going to call you as soon as I do.
Yep. Yeah, just checking in.
Yeah.
Just checking in, letting me know that it's on my mind, it's on my desk. I just haven't gotten the answer that you need.
We have our realtors touch base with all their clients, because I think that's the thing too. It's like when you're looking at houses and you're out and we're talking all the time. We're going out today or tomorrow, and then you get on your contract, and then it's like, okay, we're going to do the home inspection, and then there's this lull between the inspection and the closing. Call and touch base with people, even if you have no news. I mean, I don't know how many phone calls I made this week of, hey, I don't really need anything. I'm just calling to touch base.
Yep.
Oh, great. Well, I actually had a question for you. Cool. What is it? I had this water spigot. It needs to get fixed. Oh, yeah, I got a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the back of her mind. She didn't want to bother me with it, but like, oh, no problem. But because I reached out just to say, I don't really need anything. I'm just calling to see if you have any questions, if how you're feeling, how things are coming, and are you ready to close next week?
Get all those boxes packed?
Yeah. How's the movie going? So, just communicate.
Yeah. No,
I see it with realtors all the time, where it's like, nothing drives me nuts more than, I just sent you an offer on your house. And I'm like, cool. Well, like, I didn't even know that you showed it. Mm-hmm. And we teach our agents all the time. If you're writing an offer on a home, before you even write the offer, call that listing agent. Hey, XYZ property, my buyers are interested. What's the seller situation? Are they trying to move today? Do they have 6 months before they need to move? Is there anything that's super important to them? Is there any information I can share with my clients? And just have that communication. And then you go back to your clients and say, hey, it sounds like they're looking for a quicker close. So maybe if we accommodate that, we could get a better price on it, or vice versa type of deal. It just, yeah.
Are some agents reluctant to have that conversation?
I think people are lazy. I just think, I don't need to call the realtor.
Well, no, I'm talking the realtor on the other side.
Yeah,
on the sale and selling side.
Yeah, I think I think there's a lot of realtors that are tired or burned out or don't think about it. I don't know, maybe it's training, but like, if I got notes of one of our agents just blindly sending over an offer with no communication either before you write the offer or, and I tell our agents too, it's like, as you're writing that offer, you get it signed, type up your email, here's our offer. Before you press send on that email, call that realtor and say, hey, I've got a really good buyer. They're already pre-approved, super nice couple. It's going to be fantastic. I'm sending you an offer. It might be a little lower than what you're expecting, but I really hope you can get a deal done. And send it off.
Yeah.
Your percentage of becoming successful and putting deals together exponentially goes through the roof.
Well, rather than, a kick between the legs, right? When they see that number or whatever, you're softening that like, hey, here's the offer, but let's not kill this deal because somebody's not willing to go back and forth.
Yeah, and here's why we're writing the offer that way. Because we know that the roof needs to be replaced. Mm-hmm. So we're accounting for it, we're planning for that, and here's our logic behind it.
Yeah, so that makes so much sense.
I think the other thing with realtors is being a realtor, you kind of have to have an ego. I mean, you're putting yourself out there all the time. Mm-hmm. But we're not there like fighting with people. I think some realtors have this like, well, if I'm not making stuff muddy and causing, if I'm not fighting for my client, mm-hmm. then I don't feel like I'm doing my job. And we're all here to get along and figure out, win-win situations. We talk to our team about that all the time. Win-win situations.
No, the conversation I had just yesterday. Realtors don't get paid to list houses, to clean houses, to schedule photos. They don't get paid to make phone calls. They get paid when they close deals, mm-hmm. right? And it's that relationship of you and the other realtor coming together to help your client and their client, make a deal that makes sense for both parties.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think, too, it's relating with your client. They're emotional. We're not doing this, we're not doing that. Okay. But, let's think about this in the bigger picture. Maybe we try to do this or that. And then going back to that other realtor and having a reasonable, calm conversation so that they can go back to their client with that rather than, just craziness on one side. So, yeah, it's a fun business. Every day's different.
Yep.
Every day's different. Every deal's different. Every house is different. Every client's different. Working with the custom home builder that I get the privilege to work with, our clients are different. Some are super analytical. Some want to be left alone. Some want to meet at the house because they visualize things better than us sending an email and being like, hey, where do you want that grab bar? Mm-hmm. And so we've talked about that starting at the end of the year. It's like, you just got to meet your clients where they're at. For that analytical client, you just got to dot our I's and cross our T's.
Yep.
And meet them where they're at. And it's not bad. Every client's a little different. We're not as analytical, but if we're in the business of serving people, then we can serve them with that in mind.
Yeah. Realtors, or somebody that is looking to get into the real estate industry, right? They've thought about it. They're they're interested in getting into it, what is some advice that you would have for somebody in that situation, no matter what stage of life they're in, right? To help them, whether it be understand the industry or know what they're getting into or how the business is actually going to likely play out.
Yeah. Same way you're interviewing realtors to help buy or sell. Interview realtors that have been in the business. Ask them questions. Meet with them. I would definitely ask a newer realtor to really dig into why you want to do this. If it's because you love homes, but maybe not. I think the perception that TV has given them is, I just love showing homes. Like, I love looking at new houses. It's like, that's not the business. Like, that is a piece of the business, but that is not all the business. What are your goals for real estate? Are you wanting to make this a full-time career? Are you semi-retired and you want to be active and be involved and, you know, come from some sort of background that deals with homes? You know, so again, like, what's your motivation? Why do you want to do this? What are you trying to get out of it? Talk to a lot of different people. I mean, it's the same thing when I interview these realtors. And like, so who else have you talked to? It's like, well, nobody. It's like, I go meet with iRealty. I go meet with Remax. I go meet with Century 21. You know, EXP. Meet with them all and take notes and write questions because there's pros and cons to everything. Surround yourself by people that will teach you. I think that's one of the things about real estate also. I was very fortunate when I was 20 years old when I got my license. I went to CBRE, who in 06, 07, well, longer than that, but a good stretch in the 2000s, still today, they dominated commercial real estate. Mm-hmm. And I was so fortunate because I was 20 years old and I was in an office with 50 realtors that crushed commercial real estate. And I would just sit in there and I would talk to them and I would listen and I'd just be around and I was absorbing so much and they were just carrying on their day to day, not even knowing that I'm sitting there just soaking it all in. Mm-hmm. And I think that's too, where like the environment that you're in and not isolating yourself to sit in your basement and try to do this on your own. You can learn by just being around. In real estate, you're always going to be learning. I think that's the other thing. You're always going to be growing, whether it's yourself, your sales skills, your paperwork skills, your marketing skills. There's always something to improve. And as an independent contractor, as a realtor, you're your own boss. And so if business isn't good, there's no one there to be like, well, your marketing's awful. You know, you have to self-evaluate and be like, I think I could really improve converting leads if I worked on my scripts and I worked on, just my presentation when I'm going to listing appointments. And so, then I think the other thing with like real estate is it's kind of like insurance. If everyone came in the business and made $150,000 the first year, there wouldn't be 2,800 realtors like there is today. There'd be 10,000 realtors. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So the statistics on realtors not making it through the first 2 years is astronomical because it's a grind. It's work. I was very fortunate working with my dad when I started. We just showed up every day at 8 o'clock. And you answer your phone all week. Yep. So it's work. It's fun. It can be super rewarding, but it's not easy, and it's not for everyone. So have conversations. Just keep talking. It's like the podcast here. Just keep talking. More people you can have conversations with, you get different perspectives, you get different ideas. The thing in real estate and a lot of things is there is no like you have to do it this way regimen. Mm-hmm. You can do it a lot of different ways.
Well, and that's one of the things about this podcast is a lot of the questions that I'm asking are similar, right, to every single realtor. There's this definite line that I'm that I'm asking, and it's been very interesting getting all this, all the different answers. Some of them are the same, right? This realtor will answer the same as this, but across all the questions that I've asked, I'm getting different answers, and that's what I love, right? So I want to thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed the conversation here, and if there's ever anything that I can do for you, just let me know.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate you having me on, and love talking to good people, and just exploring all that's out there.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, thank you, John.